All right, Ed Carbajal speaking again with Devon Lozej. Devon, it's been quite a while since we spoke. I mean, last time I talked to you, you were beginning your pro career, and here you are now fighting for a title at MECCA 21 on the 17th.
Yes, sir. Things move fast, and I mean, I'm just happy that they're moving in the right direction, and I'm excited to get back in the cage this coming weekend.
So I got a lot of questions since we last spoke. You've done a lot of work. I mean, you were beginning back then, and now you're 4-2. What have you learned? Like, how's your growth been since you started going pro?
The biggest thing I think was just finding my proper weight class, like fighting at flyweight now. It's pretty easy cut. Like it's not I'm not suffering too much to make the weight. And I feel like I should have been there the entire time. I could have had a spotless record. I feel like if I was fighting there. I fought my first fights at 135 and some of the guys were just, a lot bigger. I never
Mhm.
felt like anyone was, better than me. They just, some of them were bigger and stronger, and it made fights close. It cost me a couple decisions. So moving down to flyweight now, I'm here to finish guys and just, go out there and just put my skill, my heart, everything on the line, and not have to worry about some guy just trying to bully me or be bigger than me. I could just go out there and fight my game, and that's to come forward and look for the kill.
You you still supplement. I remember when we talked, you talked about wrestling a lot as your base,
Yeah,
and now I see you got pictures with Marab, and you're training in Vegas.
yeah.
Well, how's your evolution been as far as going to different places to train?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm one of those guys that I believe, like, I want to go before it's all said and done. I want to go all over the world and train at all the top gyms. I feel like that's how I get personally. It's just personally for me how I feel like I get better is by going into these gyms. You're the new guy and everyone tries to kick your ass. It's like for me, it's like experience. It's just like it's the next best thing to fighting is you go in these gyms, you get them 5 minute rounds in small gloves with world championship level guys and they're trying to take you out and you're trying to take them out. So for me, it's almost like fight experience. When you're from your gym, you respect your training partners. Maybe you're friends with them. You're hanging out all the time. You don't have the same intensity. You're not trying to
Mhm.
hurt them. But I feel like some of these gyms, guys are trying to hurt me. They're trying to prove something. And for me, I welcome it because that's great experience for me. It gives me good looks for fights. Obviously I was picking very specific partners to try to get ready for this fight. But yeah,
Mhm.
just the traveling it's great for my evolution. I feel like it's made me super complete. I could fight everywhere. I'm good on the ground. I could stop takedowns. I could take guys down, and I could fight on the feet. When I started my pro career, I wouldn't stay like I felt like I was still I was decent everywhere, but now I feel like I'm good everywhere. And the goal is to be great everywhere.
Mm. Yeah, I remember one of the things you talked about too when you were starting was just how there's no off season and you like to keep busy.
Hmm.
Um, it seems like you've done more than that because you've only been that was like what
Yeah,
2021.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like you've done so much in such a short amount of time,
yeah,
and it looks like on paper your opponent, Sean Stebbins, who you're fighting at this event, similar on paper, similar experience, but I don't know
yeah.
if it's a similar amount of time. How do you see yourself measuring up against him?
I think he's kind of a wrestler. I understand the mindset that he's coming in with this fight because I've taken that approach to win a lot of fights. I understand the approach. I understand how to stop it. So for me, I love the matchup. I think it's a good matchup for me. I think I'm riding a lot more momentum and I've been a lot more active. He's been out for a little while. I think since he's last fought, I might have put in five fights. So
Mm,
I think momentum, age, a lot of things are in my favor. But I mean, I still got to go out and do the damn thing. I think he's a tough dude. He trains at a good gym. I have a lot of respect for Greg Nelson in the academy. I've competed against them before. I know they're, a world class gym, so I'm expecting him to come prepared. Um, but for me, I'm just feeling happy. 5 rounds is what I've been training for years. I want to get in there and I want as much time to make this man suffer as possible, so I could really show my skills and win that belt. So for me, 5 rounds is perfect. I love the matchup. I can't wait for Saturday night.
yeah, I mean, you're talking about the belt. It's a vacant title over there at Ignite Fights.
Yeah,
Um, and as we were talking just before we started recording, usually someone in your age group and
yeah,
skill set and experience, if you pick up a title at this point in your career, folks start calling you up to show up to certain bigger named events and
yeah.
things like that. So, Do you think that this is the pathway for you? Like this, how much pressure, how much weight does this fight carry for you?
I mean, it carries a lot of weight. Winning the belt in spectacular fashion is very important, because I want to get on those, the contender series or get a call to the UFC, man. That's my dream. That's my goal. It carries, yeah, this fight's everything for me, and it's not just about the belt. If you go out there and, just lay on a guy for 5 rounds and grind him out and it's boring, I mean, you're not going to get the call. For me, it's about putting him away in violent fashion, showing the UFC that I'm that type of guy, which I believe I am. I believe I have that type of skill set. I got to go out and prove it. So the pressure's on. It's not about winning. I know I'm going to win this fight. I've known since the day I signed it that I'm going to win this fight. It comes down to how am I going to win it and how impressive it's going to be. And you never really know with that. I think he might take, I might hit him a few times. He might take a path of least damage. But I mean, if he stays in there and stays tough, it's just going to create a highlight for me. So, I mean, but yeah, at the end of the day, you got to get the win. But I mean, I'm coming to make a statement in this fight and show I'm ready for the big leagues.
For sure, and the weight class you kind of commented on it kind of around the beginning when we were talking, but I want to just jump back to that real quick as my last question. 135, 125, and you talked about how you feel better at flyweight. When you look at the flyweight across the sport, the flyweight division, it's probably one of those under the radar, most exciting, sought after. Like there are no boring. Can't think of a boring flyweight title or flyweight fight. Period.
Yeah.
Is that something that makes you kind of like want to make more of a stamp, like stamp your name in the
Yeah.
minds of fans?
Yeah, I think I love the flyweight division. I think it's exciting, but I think the biggest knock on it is there's not a lot of finishes. The guys they're smaller, they don't carry a lot of power. Me coming down from bantamweight and being just naturally walking around that weight, I feel like my power carries over. I got the weight cut dialed in, and I'm here to finish guys. I have that style, and I think the guys at bantamweight, some of them lasted, some of them couldn't last. So I think at flyweight, there's not going to be very many that are going to be able to last 15 or especially 25 minutes with me. So I think that's the biggest thing, and I'm not putting away bantamweight forever either too. If the UFC called for a bantamweight fight, I've already fought there. I had 9 fights at bantamweight. I ain't afraid of these guys at 135. I'd fight at featherweight in the UFC as well if they called. I'm not afraid of that. So I think that's one thing that separates. Some guys aren't willing to move up for the call. I'd move up to lightweight to fight in the UFC. This is how bad I want it. That's what I walk at. But it's like I'd fight any of these guys at any weight to get there. I just feel like flyweight's, it's my proper weight class, so of course I'm going to fight there. But I mean, short notice opportunities or other belts at 135 are still an option for me, which I feel like is strategically it's a good move. If you can get 2 belts in 2 different weight classes, or you get the call up your weight and you're willing to go, the UFC loves that. So I'm game.
For sure, man, and you're definitely somebody since I've been watching your career that seems to always stay ready. I mean, like I said, you were training with Mirab not that long ago, so.
Yeah, we're both fighting on the 17th. I had an amazing training camp, probably one of the tougher ones of my career at Extreme Couture, because that room's just full with killers. But that I just know I'm battle ready. I'm battle ready. Whatever this guy brings, I've seen it, and I've seen it in a lot worse scenarios. I've had better strikers, better wrestlers, better grapplers, better complete fighters than him. And I'm doing great in the gym with them. So I'm super confident going in this fight. I've banked all the rounds and I'm ready. And yeah, if whatever comes next, if it's the Contender Series, a title defense, I'm going to be ready because I'll be back in the gym probably Tuesday after the fight. I like to stay ready, stay in shape all the time. You never know when you're going to get that call.
For sure, man. You're definitely somebody that's always stays ready. Well, I'm looking forward to it. February 17th, MECCA 21, Ignite Fights on Spectation Sports. Devon, before I let you go, I'd like to give you some time to shout out your sponsors. So, and let folks know where to follow you. So by all means, go right ahead.
Yeah, well, first off, follow me on Instagram. I'm at thedream_125. Tune into the fight. Spectation Sports can be a great event, great title fight. And then, thank you to my team, Leading Edge MMA. Thank you to the guys down at Extreme in Vegas for helping me get ready, all the coaches, training partners. And then lastly, all my sponsors that make this possible. Thank you, guys. You're not going to be disappointed. We're going to go bring that belt back to Canada.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for the time, Devon.
Yes.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.